Hello, I'm planning to make two videos presenting three different mindfulness meditation techniques which are meant to help for those of us when we are struggling with being triggered, being stressed out, having anxiety attack, social anxiety, um, anything to do with a sense of fear. So what's happening is that when we have a stronger trigger um, of jealousy or of fear of loss or fear of negative event happening or fear of death or just irrational kind of trigger, what happens is that uh, there starts to happen a vicious negative loop inside our body and mind. So we have racing thoughts, usually playing out the scenario or those nagging negative thoughts, fears, obsessions. And at the same time, our in our emotional body, in our energy body, we feel contracted, we feel stress, static, difficult sensations in the chest or in the belly. And at the same time, although we are not aware of that, our breathing process is very much affected. So we are very likely breathing just shallowly with the top of the lungs, and the breathing is very short and very shallow, and or the exhalation is very short. So the principles behind these mindfulness techniques are to use awareness, mindfulness, paying attention to the actual process of breathing, and also making sure that we bring some intentionality to the breathing process and we influence it by breathing deeper and breathing not just in the top of the lungs, and trying to make a point to breathe all the way into the belly. And we can even put a hand on the lower belly and breathe deep, and this way we notice the rising and falling of the belly. So just by breathing deeper, basically something happens is that our internal weather will change and we achieve some level of self-soothing and calming, self-regulating of the body. And through awareness, instead of putting our attention or being hijacked by the negative loops of thoughts, we keep the attention, the awareness on the every second of the breathing process. So we can put the attention of the air coming in and the air coming out, the different sensation of movements of the body as the breathing process is happening, or we simply keep the attention on the belly and we put the hands on the belly, simply noticing the rising and falling of the belly. So these two key elements are very important. Um, Having a deeper breath all the way into the belly and keeping the awareness on the breathing process as opposed to going into the mind loops. Um, Thoughts may still happen, so it doesn't necessarily mean that they stop right away, but we ignore the thoughts and we stay focused on the breathing process. It's akin to, let's say, we're on a storm on the sea and the sail is flailing, and then we tie ourselves to the mast. And the mast will be awareness of breathing. And this way we'll keep ourselves into the moment, to the present moment, as opposed to going into imagined fears in the future. Um, the same principle Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh taught about when there's a storm, the branches are flailing in the wind and it's very unstable and all over the place. So these are our thoughts, past and future. And so when there's a storm, we bring ourselves into the roots, into the trunk, which is stable, which is our belly and the lower belly, and awareness there into the present moment. So, and you'll see that if you do that, even after about 5 minutes or less, you can notice how the thoughts diminish, and there's some natural ability to stabilize oneself, stabilize one's consciousness, and achieve very fast a degree of calm. Um, so one technique I will do in this video is the one that actually they teach in Zen, and when they teach practitioners beginning of meditation, knowing that practitioners have racing thoughts, and then there are constant stream of thoughts, and so how it goes is that we'll go into some deep natural breathing, keeping the awareness on the breathing, and then as an addition, fastening to the must will be that as we breathe in and out, we count 1, and then again 2. So we count internally, we don't need to say it out loud, and we go for a cycle of 10 aware breaths. And the aim is to not allow ourselves to check out into the past or the future for the duration of 10 breaths. Now, even this may be difficult, so we may be doing 3 or 4 breaths, and then at some point we may notice that my mind is elsewhere and I forgot about the breathing. So if this happens, at some point we'll realize that we checked out, and then as we realize, we are kind of coming back to the last number we remember, come back to awareness of breathing, and then we're like 6. And now we go all the way to 10. So we don't start again from 1, where we left off with our awareness, we continue there and we do 10 breaths. And then we can start another cycle. So we do 2 cycles of 10 aware breaths. And I promise you that internal weather will definitely change. So you can do this sitting. So find a comfortable position, ideally with the back straight, and closing the eyes, and allowing the full weight of the body to rest onto the contact areas, allow gravity to happen. You can do the same technique while you are sitting down. You can do it as you are lying down. And ultimately, you can do it as you walk as well, of course, keeping the eyes open. So let's try now together. We'll do 2 cycles of 10 aware breaths and counting. So the basic principles, just keeping the attention on the lower belly. We are breathing deeply and smoothly, and we are not allowing our attention to drift somewhere else. And we stay with the body and the breathing process. If we notice we drifted and we forgot one number, we come back to the last number we remember. All right, let's begin. The mind may still produce thoughts, and no matter what the mind says, we don't go with them, and we come back to awareness, breathing, counting. No past, no future. It's not real. Taking refuge in awareness, the present moment. Making sure we are breathing deeply all the way into the belly and following with awareness the full inhalation, slight pause, full exhalation, slight pause, no thinking. And as we finish one cycle of 10 breaths, we can start another cycle, allowing the jaw to relax, the eyelids, the facial muscles to relax. Disregarding all suggestions of the mind and returning to breathing awareness in this moment. Once we complete one or two cycles of up to 10, then there's another variation that by now the mind is probably a little quieter and we can simply continue breathing awareness of the belly without counting. But yet, each time we catch ourselves drifting elsewhere, we bring our attention back to the present moment, staying close to just simply watching the body breathing in and out. So let's try that. Just awareness of breathing, no counting. All right. So when the mind is exceedingly busy and the thoughts are very active, it works better to count the breath. This way we ensure we are staying with each step without drifting. Once the mind gets more quieter, some of us we may prefer to no longer count and just awareness of breathing may be enough. So I suggest you practice this, and not only when you are triggered or in deep anxious states. These deep trigger states are like when there is a hurricane or storm on the ocean. So in order to have success when you have strong triggers, it is recommended that you practice when you are calm. It's like doing your laps in a swimming pool. Before you can learn how to not sink, be taken by all these crazy thoughts during the storm. It's hard to swim in the storm if you haven't done your laps in the swimming pool. So I recommend um 10, 12, 20 minutes of these two mindfulness techniques. And you'll see you will have the ability to regulate yourself, soothe yourself, and be less affected by these sticky, obsessive thoughts and have the ability to turn the knobs and come back to a place of inner stability. All right, may it benefit you, and it surely will.